Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode for Dragon Age Let's Talk. This picture here is kind of an experiment for my theory videos. I have a bunch of planned out pictures for my current theory video, which I mentioned on Wednesday's live stream. I am streaming currently on twitch.tv at FlameWing80. Every Wednesday I will stream anything related to Dragon Age. Generally speaking, it will be me running through Dragon Age Inquisition, and I am reading out loud some of the lore I run across. Not all of it, just some of it. And when I ran across one in particular piece of lore, I mentioned that I was working on a theory video over the Abyss and its relation to Darkspawn and to the Black City, because it's a theory over where the Abyss might be actually located. And thus the picture that you see me drawing in the background is both going to be in black and white and full color. The full color version is going to be used for the thumbnail, whereas this version here, the black and white one, is used in the video itself, as I figured a full color image is going to be wholly standing out because almost everything else is going to be in black and white in the theory video itself. Theory videos are going to be in black and white, whereas lore videos are going to be in full color, which is why they're going to take me a lot longer. This picture, just for its black and white version, took me about 2.5 hours. I by accidentally wasn't recording for part of it, so there will be a jump here where her armor on her legs ends up being fully completed. When it was not actually fully completed, I actually spent quite some time on her legs and her armor on her legs because I could not figure out how Abelas had his armor. I couldn't find any really good resolution images, and I don't have a current save file that is very close to when you run into the ancient elves. So I basically guessed because I couldn't find it. This is also the first female character I have drawn in years, and I drew her in a very different position than normal. For those who don't know, this is going to be Andruil, and the images of her within the Abyss itself, all of it is from the imagination, because we don't actually have a full image of Andruil besides a mosaic of her, and thus I kind of took a lot of creative liberties with what she looks like. I know she's holding a recurve bow, I believe, or a short bow in her mosaic image. I decided instead that I would like a long bow for her because longbows have further distance and more power. Thus, I drew her with a longbow. I also drew her with only one shoulder piece because if you've ever tried to shoot a bow, you know that when you draw back, having bulky shoulder on your drawback arm is going to actually hinder your drawback more than help. Thus, her arm that she's drawing the arrow with has no armor on it at all, but the one that she's holding the bow with has the armor, one, to protect her forearm against the string, because bows hurt, and two, because I wanted her to at least have some of the armor that's similar. I also looked at the way Solas's armor looks in Trespasser and decided that she would also have differences in her armor compared to Abelas. Thus, I drew fur around her waist in order to make her stand out a little bit more as a huntress. I didn't want to have the same thing that Solas has, where he has fur going down his side, as that is 100% Solas's look. You can see here currently that I am working on trying to figure out, hey, how does the armor on the leg work? How does it actually look? Another matter that is quite different on this piece is the fact that it is in full black and white, and I didn't do line art for it. When looking back at all the pictures I have drawn recently and seeing them, the longest that it takes me is actually drawing this rough piece here, and the second longest is going to be the line art going into the coloring. It's about half of the time it takes me to do the entire picture, which is why I decided to do full black and white instead of doing a full piece and making sure that I had the rough going and things like that instead of having what I had going originally. The longest part for any of my videos related to drawing is actually getting the character drawn, because I'm having to edit full-on proportions. As you just saw with her head, I had to move it down, and I have to change things as I go. This one I also knew, okay, I have to make sure that this rough is very clean. So I had the rough and I kept deciding on it and moving it around, erasing things. I cleaned it up a little bit more after I white her out, but I do the background before I even do that. And there isn't as much detail work as I normally would have in a piece. I do have a habit of adding more details when I get to the line art than when I am actually working on the rough itself. I do have quite a few details when working on a rough, just not as much. I also realized that her hand was semi-tilted partway through this and the bow was not. So I was trying to tilt the bow a little bit, and I think I failed a little bit at that because it's my first time drawing a character holding a bow. My second time. Sorry, I have one picture of Solas holding the bow of the slow arrow, as I like to call it, as one of his lore pieces mentions that Finn Harel has the bow that he would shoot, and he calls that legend is called the Slow Arrow. It's about him saving a village from a boar by shooting a slow arrow into the air, and how the vast majority of the villagers die but the children live, and thus they still have to pay tribute to him because he did keep his promise in ending the boar. Which is a very dark lore piece, but a lot of the lore that a lot of the stories the Dalish have around Finn Harel isn't exactly painting him in a good light. He's not in a good light, period, by their standards. So what I was doing here in the background was darkening it, because the way I picture the abyss is very dark in the landscape. And I just kept messing with it until it was darker and darker and darker, and I probably got a little bit too dark. And then I decided I wanted to have a quick color, and I tried a few different methods and decided when I am actually going to do the coloring of this, I'm going to just go over the way I have the background done currently, because I couldn't figure out how to get it into the colors I would like, and there's going to be multiple colors that the background is going to be anyways, so it just needs new shading and new colors and things like that as I go. The lore of the Abyss is actually very little is known about it, which is one of the reasons why I'm going to be doing a speculation over it, or a theory over it, and such, especially since Andrul's own lore. There's the codex entry called Andrul, the goddess of the hunt, or god of the hunt, and it mentions the Abyss there and how she changes over from wanting the thrill of hunting men and beasts to hunting the forgotten in their own realm. And the realm is called both the Abyss and the Void. It's mentioned first in her codex entry as being the Abyss, and then it is mentioned right after that as being the Void. So I kind of call it both. When I was actually drawing her, there were a couple changes that ended up happening. I originally imagined her with semi-curly hair like her mother, Nathal. And I tried drawing that, and then I realized I was getting confused with the lines because it was just so many lines on that image all at once that I just drew her with her hair up and tried to make it semi-curly as it was going down. You can tell that she has a little bit of a curl coming off in front of her ear, but other than that, I didn't manage to actually get her hair to be curly. There might be several of these Let's Talks heading into the theory and lore video, because currently I have 7 pictures planned for just the theory video, and the lore video I'm currently working on is a semi-redo of one of my older ones, because I figured if I'm going to be redoing a new style for my lore videos, I also want to update a lore video to make sure it is 100% up to date. and I rewatched the old version, and I don't like it. So yeah, there's a new lore video for the elven gods, and by elven gods I mean one elven god, and that one is actually going to be Durthaman. After that, I will break off and do the rest of the elven gods before going into the lore of the Chantry, which is the one I want to do the next after the elven gods, is the Chantry and the Dwarven religions and things like that. All of these are going to be taking quite a bit of effort and work on my own part, which is fine. I've been wanting to draw for a very long time, and this is getting me drawing again, which is the entire point of the way I'm doing these videos. Lore videos for Final Fantasy XIV will be done in much the same style, but Dragon Age is still my favorite series for lore. It will probably always be my favorite series for lore. I'm actually really psyched for Dragon Age 4 and when it's finally going to come out. And I will be streaming Dragon Age 4 when it does come out on Twitch TV as well, because I finally have the internet that I can stream with. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing a look of one of the things I am trying to do for the Dragon Age series, so that way you know I am still a Dragon Age YouTuber. It is still the series I want to put a lot of effort into, and it is still my favorite game series. It will remain such probably until another game series comes out that's better than it, which is unlikely to happen anytime soon. The next several videos will most likely also be Let's Talks for Dragon Age, as I have a lot of pictures currently planned for both the theory video and the lore video. These Let's Talks are meant to be a way to show I am working on videos, and also they're a great opportunity to talk about anything related to what is currently going on with Dragon Age. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.